a story of distinguished service, a story of those who serve.
Captain Joseph J. Foss, Major John L. Smith, Gonzalo Morales, Chief Torpedoman's Mate, Doris Miller, Mess Attendant, First Class, Philip L. Fulgham, Aviation Ordnance Man, First Class, John W. Finn, Aviation Chief Ordnance Man, Lieutenant William E. Hall, William Burstein.
For heroism and extraordinary achievement in aerial flight, for distinguished service as pilot of an airplane of a bombing squadron. His courageous actions were in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service.
Not for extraordinary heroism on the field of battle, but for sticking to the job, for fighting delays and building the cat crackers, for fighting selfishness, for being tough, for digging foundations out of the muck, for laying the lines, raising the towers, and welding the pipes, and for doing these jobs day in and day out to make 100-octane gas. And this is your citation, too, Marshal Davidson, operator, and yours, Bucky O'Neill. Your jobs, too, are important. You, too, are living and working dangerously, no less than the men at the fighting fronts. You, too, know what it is to face hazards in the line of duty. Your battle stations are at the refinery, turning out the only fuel that can guarantee the heroic performance of the Navy's combat aircraft. This is your plane, and its 100-octane victory gas is the finest fuel science can develop. Only when you produce it can planes fly faster and climb higher. So this is your patrol and your action. This is your fight, and your fuel will win it. This is your plane on a night bombing mission. It isn't just a job for the pilot and bombardier. It's a mission shared by every foreman, parts maker, and pipe fitter who stayed on his job. Marty Maloney, Gauger, has his hand on the bomb release switch just as surely as the bombardier. And this is what everyone from driller to distributor is working for. Streets, mills, factories, an entire city lighted with flares dropped by the first flights. Flashing bomb bursts mark the destruction of the enemy's productive power. It's Germany tonight. Tomorrow it'll be Japan. And in the North Atlantic, South Atlantic, in the Pacific, the world over, convoys like this must be guarded. Perhaps there are survivors. Survivors whose desperate prayers have been for the sight of a lone cruising plane powered by 100-octane gas. Patrol and escort planes bring fear and death to submarines lurking along the supply routes. The routes are long, and the seas are wide, and the weather's treacherous. There are millions of miles to cover. Thousands of gallons are needed now, needed for jobs like this. You have a hand in this as much as those who install electric or hydraulic systems. Enemy submarines are in your sights. They're your targets, whether you're handling a machine gun or a rivet gun. There's another sub, battered into submission by the blazing guns of planes that you have fueled. This is captured German film, telling the story of a dogfight, a story that's usually only told by a pilot. When the Germans started this business, the Luftwaffe roared out after a few desperately outmatched, outmoded planes, they took these pictures to show intended victims the deadly consequences of their secretly marshaled air power. Their intent was to shock, bluff, scare us into submission. Instead, they bred a new determination on the part of flyers and workers both, to meet the menace and to stamp it out. Deadly Stukas, whose dive-bombing techniques were perfected in secret German Air Force maneuvers, were used to strike fear into the hearts of terrified populations. But the fear didn't stick. So here's our answer. The target is a Japanese ship. The plane is ours. Wings from Maryland. Engines from New Jersey. Oil from one state, refined in another, shipped from still another. All with one purpose and one destination. Is our answer. And every refinery worker is right behind bombs, machine guns, and cannon, until every single Jap and German is shot into the sea. Here at home, from Pennsylvania to California, are the other battlegrounds on which the war of survival is being won. Here, the first mission is to build the 100-octane plants today and not tomorrow. Leading the attack are the men who dig the ditches and pour the concrete, the riggers who raise the towers, the welders and the pipe fitters. Fighting with them are the drillers and pumpers, the refinery operators, the chemists and office workers, and all those who handle the precious fuel and speed it to the fighting planes and fighting men across the seas. Fighting, too, are the longshoremen and the stevedores who load the ships. With them are the men who man the tankers, and always the men of the Navy who battle wind and wave and enemy submarine on every sea to get the gas where it is needed. Your job is getting 100-octane gas to the men on the fighting front, to hasten the day when freedom of the air and freedom of the seas will be ours again. 100-octane gas will help to win the war. And this is your distinguished service.